Hey guys, I got my new parts today for the 424. I got this whole used Planetary ring gear, the whole deal. The ring gear is in really nice shape. I'm very happy about this. Barely has any wear on it whatsoever. The Planetary needs new bushings, and I knew that when I bought it, and that's okay. Now, if you look at these gears, there's a lot of play there. That bushing is totally worn out, which is not a big deal. Same with the bigger gears. And now, this one has no bushing in it at all, which is kind of funny. But, yeah, these things are pretty shot. This one here is really bad. So basically I'm going to have to rebush them, and as some of you know, I already got the parts from McMaster Car. They're about $1.50 a piece for those bushings, and I'm waiting for my reamer to come, and then I'm going to make a nice little clip of how to rebush these things. And once we rebush this Planetary, then we can put it back in the 424 and hopefully be back in business again. So that's about it, guys. Thanks. Hey guys, I'm going to take apart this Planetary here and rebush it. So I want to show you how screwed up these gears are. Now you take off these bolts, they're left-hand thread, so be careful. But this bushing is so shot that, I'll show you this way. You see how much play is in that thing? Look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press out these bushings. Now I got my Harbor Freight press here, and what I did is I got this pin here at Tractor Supply. It's a 5/8 diameter pin, and it'll work perfect for pressing that 5/8 bushing out of that gear. So what I'm going to do is basically line this thing up here and just press it out with that pin. Oops. And it should work really nice. So I'll see if I can show you how it works. Okay, so, alright, so you can see how nice that worked. Now this bushing is just totally freaking shot. Totally shot. So I have some new bushings, and we're going to press one of those in. We'll use the opposite side of the pin, this fat side, to do that. So let me get one of those. I have a whole bag full of brand new bushings here that I got from McMaster Car, and they're about $1.50 a piece. So these new bushings here are bronze, and they're 5/8 OD, 1/2 inch ID, and they're 1/2 inch thick, and they're exactly the same spec as the OEM bushing. So what we're going to do is we're going to press this in, and then we're going to have to use a reamer to make it fit. So let me show you how to press it in. Alright, so now I'm going to take this, and I have the pin all lined up. I'm just going to press it down real gentle so that it's flat to the other side of the gear. I don't want it to come out the other side and get like chamfered or anything. That should do it. That looks pretty good. Might want to go a hair more. So I'll put it back in the middle here like I had it before. Just go one little hair on it. Again, I don't want it to come out too far, and I don't want to bend it over either, so it's a very fine line. Like, I'm just going to touch this thing a hair. There we go, that's a hair. Yeah, that's in there perfect. So, now to show you guys, so we got that bushing in there. Try to get it exactly centered. And the problem is that if we were to take our original bolt here that it goes on, let's see if we can do this. See, it won't even fit on the bolt because it needs to be reamed. So I got a reamer, and we're going to have to do some measurements here. So let's get the measuring equipment and the reamer. So I've got my digital caliper here, got all zeroed out. What I'm going to do is we're going to measure this bolt here. So we've got about 0.495, 493, 494, 492. We basically need to look for the biggest spot. 496. It's hard to do this exactly square, but I think 493, 494, 495, somewhere in there is really where we're at. So what we're going to do is try to set our reamer, and here I've got this adjustable hand reamer, and there's a nut here on the end that you use to adjust it. So what we're going to have to do is measure each bolt individually and then set our reamer so that we have a snug fit on there. So I'm thinking about making the fit like maybe a 1/1000 and seeing how that works. And then we can always go bigger with the hole, but we can't go smaller. So I'm basically going to put my caliper on this reamer and dial it in so that it's a 1/1000 off from what this shoulder is here on the bolt. So let's see if we can get that set up. I almost forgot. There's a little hole in the gear. It's a 3/32 inch hole for the oil to get in there. So what you got to do before you ream it is take a drill and drill out that hole there so it comes into the bushing, right into the middle. So I'm just going to set up my little drill press and drill that hole, and then I'll ream it. Okay, I got my reamer in there. Now this is kind of stupid, but this top on here is too big to use on my regular tap wrench, so I'm just going to put a 10mm wrench on there and spin it for now. Someday I'll buy a new wrench that can handle it, but basically you're just going to hook this up and spin it. If I had a 12-point socket, I could do that, but I don't seem to have a 12-point socket that's a 10mm. They're all 6-point, so well, this goes through pretty easy. It seems to be cutting nice, so I'm gonna put it through a little bit more, and then what we'll do is we'll take it out and we'll fit it and see where we end up. So you can see it making all those shavings down there. So I'm going to back it out, and now we'll take our little stud here. Oh, it's so close. This needs to go a hair more, so we'll just tweak it until it fits. Alright, well, I ended up taking the reamer and opening it up a little hair, and now Look at that, guys. That gear is real nice. Spin nice on there. Got a nice tight fit. It really wasn't that bad. So I bought this reamer on eBay. It's a 1/2-inch adjustable hand expandable reamer. I got it used. It's like brand new, but it cost me $30. To buy one new, it costs like 90 bucks or something like that. But you basically just loosen this nut and then screw this bolt here in or out, and it expands or shrinks it. So it worked really nice. You know, I got my Harbor Freight digital caliper here, and I was able to do what I needed to do to get the right reading, and it's very simple. So what I got to do now is all 6 of those gears. And what I actually found is that this shoulder bolt here that the gear spins on is actually a hair out of round, probably by a 1/1000th or something like that. So I'm not going to screw with that. I'm just going to leave it. But if you were really a perfectionist, you would probably replace those shoulder bolts also with ones that are actually true. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hope you can do some reaming of your own one day. Now this is a used Planetary that I bought, and the next gear doesn't even have a bushing in it to start with, so I guess I'll save a step. I don't have to press one out, but you know, it's just kind of funny how you find these things, and some of them are just so screwed up that you can't really fathom it. But anyways, that's about it. Now this next bolt is so worn out that I can't reuse it. I don't know if you can see this on the top here, but there's a major lip right there. And if I'm to spin that, there's no way I could ever use this bolt. It's totally worn out. So I just happen to have a spare Planetary that has good bolts in it, but the other 2 bolts in this thing are shot like this, so there's no way I can reuse these. They're just too far gone, which really stinks, but I'd rather that we do this right rather than have this Planetary blow up again. And unfortunately this bolt is too shot for us to reuse, so we may end up having to buy new bolts if I don't have enough used ones laying around here. But yeah, it's always fun. And on the other one, this ring here, these holes here are worn out beyond wear, because don't forget, if you get these gears good on their shafts, and then these pins have too much slop in them, and this one's got some slop in it. I think it's probably in what I'll call the acceptable range. But you know, you really have 2 axes. You have the gear itself, and you got the pin. So you know, there's a lot of moving parts to these things, and you can buy this ring here. It's like 20 bucks. But again, if all these pins are worn out, then you're going to end up having to buy 6 new pins also. Otherwise, you're going to have a worn out pin in a new hole, and it's just going to be sloppy just like this is. So you really got to pay attention to detail here, and you really can't let things slide. These are all really crucial measurements, and we don't want this to blow up because it's a very expensive part. So this bolt here is out of a Planetary that was rebuilt, and it only has a couple hours on it, and I actually hired a machinist to rebuild this one, and I don't think he used lock nuts on these studs, and one of the nuts fell off and the thing imploded. But I had bought this shoulder bolt new, and this one is .505, 506, and just for comparison, the one that I was just working on was .486, so they really wear down a lot. And you know, so like I said, each one of these gears needs to be custom reamed to whatever size bolt you have. So you know, you really got to be technical about this. You can't just ream one out and then think all the others are going to be the same. You really got to measure each one and set your reamer for each one, and keep doing it. So we'll ream this one out, and you know, we'll make this about a 1/1000th over from what this is, so we'll shoot for like .51, and we'll see where we're at. make that 0.505, not 501. Anyways, you get what I'm saying.